American democracy is in a state of decay. Year after year, Congress fails to pass popular bipartisan policies. It's not that the American people don't agree on a lot, it's that our system is rigged to favor the few. Modern-day oligarchs use their wealth and power to shape the political process, our economy, and the media. The will of the people and the greater good remains undone. It doesn't have to be this way. Buckminster Fuller said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." To make the unacceptable status quo of American politics obsolete, we have to build a movement capable of creating a new system. We can't let our collective cynicism become a self-fulfilling prophecy. We must open our minds to the possibility of a brighter future. So how do we take this large step closer towards the ideals of American democracy? A popular people's movement needs shared principles that we can rally around. The simple and beautiful idea that we can rally around is democracy itself. Americans agree representatives should do the will of the people. This is such an obvious statement that it sounds absurd. We hold this truth to be self-evident. This is the fundamental tenet of American democracy. We now have modern web technologies that can enable easy and secure online voting to make the people's voice known on an ongoing basis rather than just every 2 to 4 years at election time. We can build custom social networks for civic engagement at any level of government, from towns, counties, districts, states, and even the federal level. The will of the people can be known, and our representatives can and should enact our will. Obviously, right? So what are the types of popular policies that might get passed if our representatives were actually doing what we want? 68% of Americans, a supermajority, support a public option for health insurance. We pay nearly twice as much for health insurance as other developed countries. That's $4,000 extra per person, and we have worse health outcomes. 67% of Americans support a $15 an hour minimum wage. The minimum wage would be over $21 today if it had kept up with inflation. A whopping 74% of Americans support the congressional stock ban, which would ban congressional members from trading stocks while in office. 73% of US adults support guaranteed paid sick leave for all workers. 84% support expanding Medicare coverage to include dental, vision, and hearing. 88% support lowering Medicare prescription drug prices. And last but not least, 87% of Americans support the Anti-Corruption Act, which would make it illegal for politicians to take money from lobbyists, prevent politicians from fundraising during working hours, stop donors from hiding behind secret money groups, and close the revolving door. There are dozens of other policies like these with a supermajority of citizen support. The chasm between public policy and the public will makes the systemic rot in our system undeniable. To reinvigorate our democracy, we can grow a peaceful revolution of, by, and for the people around a twofold democracy pledge to be made by existing representatives and political candidates for office. First, to do the will of their constituents as expressed through polling and a People's Voice platform, an easy-to-use mobile app. And second, to implement a set of democracy reforms to ensure that the rules of our political system are actually democratic. The idea is that any candidate or representative would be invited to make the democracy pledge. Democrats, Republicans, third parties, independents, anyone. Once a few courageous pioneers govern this way, it'll put pressure on the rest of the political system to do the same. What compelling answer could a representative give for not wanting to communicate with their constituents to understand their will? Knowing who is and is not willing to take the democracy pledge will help the movement quickly sort out which representatives are truly on our side. Which set of democracy reforms we choose for the second part of the pledge deserves more deliberation. Since there is already popular consensus for the Anti-Corruption Act, it is a good place to start. Ranked choice voting is a particularly compelling democracy reform because it eliminates the spoiler effect of third parties, requiring the two major parties to compete based on merit rather than being propped up by anti-democratic election rules. A People's Voice platform could provide additional features that enable healthy discourse between representatives and their constituents, like regular virtual town halls to discuss pertinent issues at depth. Constituents could ask questions, and the questions with the most upvotes get asked live. This is direct accountability to the people in real time. Once issues are thoroughly discussed, citizens could securely vote via a People's Voice app on the issues that their representatives will soon be legislating on. Including citizens in the deliberation and legislative process could change the nature of American politics. Imagine what a positive future of civic engagement might look like. For the first time in history, humanity has the capacity to create real-time participatory democracy using the internet. We have social networks designed to hijack our attention and maximize shareholder revenue. There is nothing saying we can't build social networks designed to enhance the democratic process, to arrive at popular consensus, and make the will of the people known. We need moonshots for social and political change. We have to do better than the doomed trajectory we're on. A more united and democratic America is possible if we do what is required of us to put down our memes and stop buying into the media-fueled culture war. Let's see each other's humanity. We have to stop falling for the idea that a small percentage of extremists, often the loudest voices, represent the sentiment of the masses. The existing power structure benefits from our division. Again, there are many substantive policies that have a supermajority of popular support that we could enact if we can transcend our divisions and cooperate on the things we agree on. The center 80% of the body politic, united around a new era of democracy, unlocks a peaceful revolution. It's going to take brave, patriotic public servants committed to the principles of democracy to set the United States of America back on course. Our goal is to have people's candidates and our representatives take the democracy pledge for upcoming elections. Presidential candidates running on this idea and winning would certainly accelerate the movement. We don't want to just talk about this, we want to build it. Please reach out if you think there's an opportunity to collaborate. We're looking to connect with established partner organizations with compatible missions, politicians that might want to make the democracy pledge and use the People's Voice platform, foundations or other sources of funding, as well as new team members and advisors. We look forward to hearing what you think of this idea, how it might be improved, and how we make it happen.